Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira, the Niche Navigator, coming to you. Thank you so much for another episode of Munira's Musings. You have a lot of things to do, but thank you so much for tuning in, because this is something that is going to help you change your life if you're looking to change your life. My guest today is Dr. Geri Magee. She is calling us all the way from California. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being here. I appreciate it. You know, all of you people that are watching, if you want some kind of accountability because you've started something or want to start something, but don't know how to start it, or any excuse that you have, here Dr. Magee is going to talk about that. So it's a very profound session today. I'm looking forward to it. We've been trying to connect with Dr. Magee for a while, and finally we did it today. So Happy New Year, Dr. Magee. Thank you so much.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. I actually go by AKA Dr. G. Like this, all my patients love me. In addition, I'm in Washington now. I was in California for years, but I've lived up here almost 20 years. And Munira and I have been connected for quite a while. I had a lifelong surgery in 2014. And this year we had something going. We were ready to rock and roll after a couple of books that I was participating in. And I won Author of the Year award. Here it is. It was,
Wow.
I do have the nameplate, but I haven't put it on. I just received it. This was for Success Breakthroughs with Jack Canfield. He's the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. He and myself and a few others got together and wrote a book on how to have success breakthroughs after so many different types of life situations that set us back, and we move forward still. So mine is called Women to Women. It's a great section of the book. It also talks about my theory, the universal relationship pyramid, which are building blocks to a healthier relationship and intimacy with yourself, others, your higher power, science, whatever your belief system may be. Enjoyed writing that. I was in the process of moving while writing that book and editing it. So each one of them had a little bit of editing errors. That's quite okay. I was known as a semicolon queen in college, and these were finalized by the editors, and some of the things overpassed as well. I had the pleasure, while overcoming right after the success breakthroughs and celebrating, to enjoy Sunday Sturgeon and write a book with her and her co-collaborators called Women Warriors with Wings, and it's called Illuminating Your Joy. And this was such a wonderful book to write, with all the wonderful stories that are in it, and it's so inspirational. Jack's is more for work, your career process of what you want to do and how do you want to accomplish that. I'm in the process of reinventing myself again after lifelong surgery. And in here, I talked about that, as well as the Women Warriors, Women with Angel Wings, Illuminating Your Joy, on how both of those worked with me to move me past a very unhappy, hard part of my life, where the illnesses and financial, those two go hand in hand, were all falling apart. And then, of course, relationships fell apart throughout that process. However, I was able to start rebuilding it, and I'm at a whole different level now. I'm working on so many different projects and very happy. And even amongst the middle of that of rebuilding myself, I broke my leg. Munira and I were supposed to do one the end of September, and I had broken my leg and my ankle. And in the meantime, with Jill Rynan, she and I, and she compiled from a number of other authors, compiled Reading Between the Signs, mythology of signs and synchronicities. And this is a wonderful book. I had a lot of fun writing a chapter regarding how various signs actually speak to me. And, like I've seen billboards that come across and I'm like, oh my God, that's my question that I've been puzzling over for weeks. And so, or license plates, that's my biggest one in the book. So each one was a new success story and an old story, and how I'm collaborating the two to move forward. The award was given in August in LA. It is actually exactly made from the same ones that do the Oscars and the Grammy Awards. So I just received the video, which will go up on my author's page. I'm in the process of reinventing a whole new website and access. Now, in addition, I'm now going to be writing my own 3 books, and I'm looking for tons of stories that are inspirational, how they made it past age 18. Why I'm looking for those that are 25 and older. They all want stories on how do I become an adult, and it's called adulting. So if you have any stories on how you moved out of your home, how did you accomplish things, what venues did you look for, or what resources did you use that helped you move on to getting out of on your own and being stable, especially in today's day with finances and the cost of rent and food. It all piles up, and I mean, literally there are 30 something year olds living at home, and it's becoming very frustrating for our younger generation. The 118 and older is, it's called OMG, I'm almost 18 now, what? That is going to be a book hopefully published by February, March, if I have enough stories by then. So that it is going to be a suicide prevention and hopefully a homicide prevention in today's world. We do have a lot of those going on. And they are limited under the age of 18 of what resources they have, and the pressure of becoming 18 and seeing their siblings or their friends or their parents' friends that they're not moving out in their 20s like we did, once we were married or just moved out with a few friends who were able to afford things. This day and age, the younger generation under 35 and under can't afford much. And 35 and older, if they're married with children, it has to be a 2-income household no matter what. And where's the affection for the children going to? They're being raised in the schools and the preschools. And now I'm talking to people who are in my age group that are, like, call it grandma in the box, where grandma is literally in the box because we are such a transient society, especially the Western region of the world. So I relate to my grandson and my other grandson by camera most of the time, and they see me hopefully twice a year. The youngest is 18 months, so my goal is to try and see him at least twice a year. And these are all things that I'm looking at building and trying to solve. I'm a solution-focused therapist trying to solve issues within my own life, and then share those stories with others that may find solace and resources out there that they can use to help build their families and communities. You know what I mean, Munira?
There you go. So thank you so much for sharing that. Let me ask you
Yeah.
this. You said you are a strategy-focused therapist.
Yes, a systemic therapist is my degree, and I'm solution-focused experiential therapist is my area of expertise. And
What does that mean? I mean, for somebody who doesn't understand therapy.
I explain it very easy. Solution-focused is we get to know who you are and your whole system, whether they're there or not. It's always easier if they're in the same room. And we work on the problems together on what solutions you may have inside yourself, what solutions are out in society, what solutions I may have, resources, so that you can move forward. And pretty much I tell everyone, I'm not the type of therapist that'll sit there and go, how does that make you feel for an hour? I would scream and pull my hair out to be that therapist. I'm more of an interactive one. We sit, we talk. let's get to know each other. Let's see what's going on inside, outside, and all around. And
Okay.
experiential means I'm older. So, and I've had a number of experiences. One of the books I want to write is my own small autobiography, Dr. G, GED to PhD, #2. And it's been an interesting life, going from someone who never thought, believe me, my literature, uh, grammar and English teachers would probably roll over in their grave or drop dead knowing that I wrote a book. I was terrible at English.
No, you remind me because this morning I was flipping channels and I watched the Lucy show. I love Lucy show. And this was a show where she talks with her husband about reading to her child. And he has this passage that he has to read, Ricky Ricardo, and he says, the carpenter was cutting the bows and then with the rough knife, so bow and then row and then go. And so it's the same OUGH, but how it's pronounced, right? And
Yeah.
so, it's a very hard language, but like you said, nobody would have dreamt that you're writing a book. And so, that reminded me of that for a minute. But let me also ask you this. You also talk about accountability.
Yes.
So what is it that you do? And before you answer that, let me ask you this. You said 2. So does that mean you have 2 PhDs?
No, it's a GED to PhD. So instead of doing the letter 2,
Yes.
I
So
went
you use 2.
GED to a PhD because I left school, had to do with finances and various other things. I went straight into college in Brooklyn, New York, and then slowly did classworks as a single parent in California. And then finally dedicated one whole year, got all my credits together, and finished my bachelor's at 35, and decided to roll right into a weekend program online, online program for my master's degree. And then while I was sick, between 2014 and 2016, I finished an online program in PhD in diversity and divination. So I'm an ordained minister. During that time period, the accountability, Jack Canfield and John Efroff and Natalie from Movie Mind were my help get me through being in a wheelchair, thinking and being told I'll not survive, I won't walk, I won't, all these negative things of I won't be able to do. And I have to retrain my brain and believe in my heart that that's not true. I'm able to regain my life to some degree. I don't know what it'll be. And that's anxiety is the fear of the unknown. Depression, just so that you know, is the want of once was, or the want of what wasn't but always wanted. Like you've always want, for instance, I always wanted a Barbie head but never got it. So that depressed me as a child. And then one day as an adult, I'm walking down the aisle with my 2 daughters that just had tonsillectomy to get a Nintendo 64, and I see the Barbie head, so I bought that Barbie head for myself. And I didn't realize that whole time that I asked for it, a few years, I was a little depressed during Christmas as a kid, and I didn't realize that until I was an adult. I was in my late 20s at the time. So, and that's the fun thing about kids is you're able to replay the roles that you wanted to have in your life as a child, your children. Those are the blessings that you get to have as an experience as a parent when you're raising children in today's modern times. At least that's my opinion. Now, for accountability, most therapists and mentors and coaches all talk about accountability. My business was called Accountability Counseling Services. A number of people thought it was an accounting business, which it wasn't. I was actually an estate planner and life insurance.
Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Most of my patients that did show up, once they realized, that knew that it was a therapeutic practice, all did have accountability for themselves But in addition, they also held me accountable throughout the process. As they were learning, I was learning too, various things about myself or the world around me, an experiential therapist, and a solution focus. So I retained all those solutions that helped other people. And that's what I was able to use besides my own experience to share with other patients that this may work for you or this may work, because I've seen other people succeed in that area. And when I closed the business, I wrote a beautiful letter to all of them, thanking them for holding me accountable, as well as themselves, until they got to the area that they felt they were being successful in their own lives and accomplishing the goals and solutions that they needed. And generally, after 10 sessions, when I built my theory, the universal relationship pyramid, after 10 sessions, I never saw them unless it was an ongoing thing that we needed to find other resources with. And they would just touch back in case a different problem arose in their life and they needed to look at various solutions other than the ones that they thought they had or limited to at the time. And I would see them at that point. But other than that, most of my patients would leave and be thankful and go about their way within no more than 20 sessions.
You know, so you said you had hiccups along your life, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
and so you went through life and things happen. Of course, life happens.
Right.
So when did you decide that this is something that you want to do? I mean, you found your niche, right? And that's what we're talking about, is because I'm the niche navigator and I promote having a niche. So how did you find that? And when did you know this is something that you want to do and this is where you're passionate?
Well, it's actually interesting. I call them stairway steps. When I look back, each thing that I've done, either religion, finance, they all led to each other. And some of them I weren't even aware of. If you look at Gestalt theory, it's all a cycle of awareness. My master's thesis was on that. And you come to a full cycle during each relationship of awareness. And if you haven't come to the cycle of awareness, then what happens is in some other situation, that cycle is going to continue.
Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other
that
people's
point,
lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
And building up to a different level of who I am inside. So once I finished the financial planning came with me inside the therapeutic area, because people have, one of the biggest issues is sex and finances. Those are the two big ones, right? And then usually spirituality falls in the middle. And so those were areas that I felt I was comfortable in talking with couples with, or families, or in businesses, because the theory I wrote is actually one that I developed while I was a financial manager as a manager, that helped my agents understand who they were, as well as help understand who clients were. And that all rolled over into my therapy practice. And then when I became sick, I was going crazy sitting still on the couch and I was needing encouragement. So I started tapping in and looking at other resources that I've never used, but I heard other people use, like Jack Field. I don't have a picture of John Ashcroft, but he's fantastic. Neurogen is, go get the book, Neurogen is one of the things that I use.
Repeat the name of the book, please.
Inner Size. So he just released it. It's on Amazon now. If you want, I can run and get it towards the end. But I love that book. He has a fantastic program of working from the inside out, but more of the mind. And Jack works from the inside out, from the heart. And so I loved working with both of those programs. Had inspired me to keep going when everyone else, all my friends, family were told and believed I was dying, except for 2 or 3 that said, you know what, Geri, not. I know you're going to pull through. And it was hard to stay in contact with all of them every day. So I found various on Facebook, various sites that were inspirational in areas that I'm interested in. at first I began just watching, just so that every day I logged in and saw inspirational words and encouragement. And I would meditate on those or lay down. There were points I was so sick and vomiting. I would just lay on the couch and just think about what I saw that was positive that day. And then I would keep going through. And then all of a sudden, I had a breakthrough in May of this year. And no one thought that that was going to happen, including my husband. Somehow, pretty much within a few days' time, I was out and back to normal and moving. I had oral surgery. I know that was part of it, but that was earlier in the year. However, and that was my whole frontal lower one, which is a very hard one for as you get older, losing your teeth can be very devastating in itself. But the numerous surgeries caused me to vomit, which caused my teeth to come. So having to become that, put a smile on right there. I'll show you. That's the cover. That was hard to do in that front tooth. One, we called it snags. My grandson and I only had one at first, pulled right in the front, of course. And so I had a bridge, and it, when I took it out, it looked like a snaggle tooth. And so my grandson would always remind me if we were going, he goes, "Hey, Grandma, don't forget snag." So that was last year, and then this year, as the vomiting persisted, I had to get the lower tooth out, and that was very devastating and very hard on the body. And I had lost a significant amount of weight at that point, so the doctors were not a lot of faith that I'd pull through. However, there were so many inspirational people out on the web. There's a good thing about that. I'm not a big technology person, more earthly, but knowing that there are people out there that care about you, love you, and want to encourage you. I'm one of them that now go out and write inspirational things or share things that are inspiring for others to start bringing them along. I feel that was a gift that's given to me this past year, you know?
You know, that's something that's an awesome story because you've overcome health issues as well.
And now financial again. So I'm hopefully going to be working either online as a therapist and mentor. I'm an executive mentor. I've been doing it for years, but now I want to write my own books now that I've been encouraged to participate in the industry. So I'm signed up with Balboa Press and Hay House, Louise Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life. I love her. She was one of the ones that helped me through years ago in court. And so I am hoping through her publication company to write the books that I've talked about. And then with Karen, how does Karen pronounce her name? Hold on. Karen is the editor of all of the books that I've been reading lately. And I don't know if I have her name here. So Karen, P-A-N-T-S, she's the editor. And I'm interested in writing a book called Calling All Earth Angels and Energy Healers, something along that line. So I'm trying to compile stories of people who have found their inspiration, either through angels or through, like I'm a Reiki master as well, various types of energy healing, chakra healing. So I'm trying to compile stories. I'm looking for at least 30 to 40 stories for my first book. And if anyone's out there, please get my information. And of course, on my OMG 16, if you have any inspirational stories on that, that is my first priority, is overcoming teen suicide and homicide at this point, which has devastated me as I'm laying there sick, trying to get better. Seeing how our world is coming is not a very great thing. It's very much about classism, more than it is about racism these days. And so that's what I'm hoping, and my goal is to bring the next generation forward, and with all the other angels out there, earth angels and healers, just keep bringing everybody forward and keeping ourselves intact as we go through life. And Munira, looks like you with your musings, bringing us forward, getting that information out there to other people and women and men I just adore you for that. I love watching your show, by the way. Um, I would do anything, and I'm feel so happy that I'm on your show. You have no idea that we find.
Well, thank you so much. And Munira's Musing started because I saw a need for people who are unhappy. 62% of the people are unhappy with the jobs they have or where they are in life. And they want to do something, but they are fearful and they're not clear on what to do. And so when I was reinventing myself as the niche navigator, I realized that to bring happiness is to show people that, you can't be rich overnight. You cannot find a niche overnight. You cannot be happy overnight. It just takes a process. And every person that I interview on Munira's Musing, that's the intention, because I want people to see that it's not easy.
Yeah.
We've all seen successful
Like,
people. Yeah, we've all seen successful people, and we say, oh, I want to be like them, but nobody wants to do the hard work that goes with it, because success comes when you put in the hard work, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you also have to fail. You just do. And so the first thing is to become clear and clear your mindset. And you talk about that as well. The fact is, this show came about because I wanted to show one person that what you're doing is a lot of value. You may not see it, but I do. And
Yeah.
so I interviewed her, and I loved it so much that I started looking for people. Now I have people who want to be on the show all the time.
I know.
And it's, there are some people who want to come back again and say, can I be on your show? And say, yeah, okay, go ahead. I have a date opening, go ahead and come on. I mean, I'm looking for people who have found their niches. And the bottom part is, again, like you said, you've said quite a few things that are quite profound, where we have to constantly reinvent ourselves. You cannot be stagnant, because if you are stagnant, that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So, you may find, yeah.
Bring it forward. And the things that you didn't like, what were the lessons you learned from them so that you don't do it again? And what is a solution that you would do differently? That is one thing that I always do and try and do as I move forward. It's my rule of thumb.
And that's the thing is like, okay, so you say, let's take a step back, think about it. Let's figure out if there's another way. And again, with my navigation system on my navigator, and I have a compass, is that's okay, let's talk about it. Let's go back to the starting point. Can we do that? And figure out where we went wrong. Maybe there was a wrong turning. We're supposed to go right, but we went left, the other right. I do that with kids all the time. Go right, and it's the other right. I do that.
So, which way
No, I know where I want them to go. It's like go right, but I want them to go left. And it's like, you said right. Yes, I did, but it meant the other right. So look at my hand. Don't look at my, don't say, my husband gets mad at me too. He says, can you be clear? Just listen to the GPS. So that's the thing. It's like, okay, even if you took a wrong turning, that happens. Then can we go and reroute, right? Can we go reroute and figure out what happened here? Let's go turn back. Let's go figure something else out. And then, so it takes time, it takes consistency, it takes patience, right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
And so, you've said you went through school, you raised your kids, then you went through ministry, and then you went to school and did, your PhD. I know out there many people are dreaming they have their master's degree, they have their bachelor's, and they want to become PhDs, but they don't want to do the hard work, or they're scared because now it means putting in the hard work.
Well, and it all depends what you're looking at your upper level as well. So you have to be really defined on that. For instance, in my bachelor's degree, it was primarily business globalization and psychology, looking at being wanted to be a lawyer in contract law, so globally, and that was my goal. And I went for the interviews, and at each interview I came out and threw up, and I had not been feeling good. I'm going back to 2014, a surgery I had, but I realized there's no way I can do that. Well, I don't want to say I couldn't live with myself, but I wasn't able to complete. I mean, I did great. I was offered positions in the schools, but when I finally went over, someone said, "Why don't you look at the back here, the therapy in therapy, the counseling or master's degree?" So I went in there and was accepted for the interview. Had the interview, went in, and did fine. Went out, went to the bookstore, looked at all the books, and was like, "Oh wow, I read all these books." And it was a hard degree to go through. I tell people they sort of pull your guts from outside, make it look at it, and then put it back in. And I have the scar to prove it. And I joke with them. I don't show them the scar, but that's sort of how it felt going through it. But there were also so many beautiful times going through it, and connections either with myself or other students or faculty that enriched my life to keep me going. And then I also found out later on that some people, you don't even have to go to law school. If you can find an attorney that you're willing to work with in certain states, some you work 3 years or 10 years, then you can pass that bar under the attorney. And you don't have the legal, the laws, what I'm trying to say, you don't have the expenses of having to go to law school, but you are working under an attorney. So it depends on if time is a value or finances are a value, and you have to weigh those when you're looking at any type of upper degree. I knew that when I left my GED, left high school, I took my GED right away in New York. It's in one of the books here in my bio. I did not want to forget what I learned, but I just felt that college was better off for me. Now they have a program in most of the states that if you think college is good, they allow you, if you're a certain grade student, to go sit in those classrooms and you earn college credit while you're in school now. So there are so many different resources that are available, but some of them are not available to you. So what are you going to do at that point? How are you going to move forward? And that's when you're learning, you have to take one step forward and you may take 2 steps back, like you were saying just a few minutes ago about finding your niche. Those are not the easy steps, but those are the ones that bring us fortitude and perseverance inside ourselves to keep going on that track. I don't know, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I like the way, I mean, so there are different options with education a little bit now that I see. Things have changed. Also, they wouldn't take, if you have finished college 10 years ago, they wouldn't take your undergrad, your GE classes, general ed classes, because now they say it's all
about the paper.
Yeah, so you have to go back and do it all over again. And so instead of just doing the core classes, now you're doing everything again, which means you're now getting another degree totally. And so things have changed, yeah. But
in one of the books I wrote, the reason I had to get my bachelor's degree was I was ceiling out. Because I did not have a degree, I couldn't move up any further in the career I was in management. I could have moved up to like CEO or something in different insurance. I had the knowledge, I had 20 some odd years experience. I just didn't have the bachelor's or master's degree.
Yeah. And that, I see that in a lot of people who are coming to me and saying, I need to do this, but this is where I'm stuck and I can't go back to school.
Exactly.
Yeah. So not everybody is cut out for school, but so then we find another avenue. But that's okay. I mean, so there is ways you can explore and find options, right?
When I was
options and choices.
As a single mom, I sold skincare. I did spa parties at night, and I brought my kids with me. And then I met women who were doing Tupperware or Pampered Chef, and some men, Cutco and Pampered Chef, the men are great at that. They come in, cook a dinner, the ladies love it, and it's a great way of making money as you're going through school. So there's a little bit of things that you have to finagle, or trade babysitting. Those were things I had to do as a single parent. I worked nights, and so I babysat and picked up kids from school in the afternoon, and then someone watched my kids at night. They would sleep, and then I'd come up in the morning, or through the weekend, pick them up and take them, with me to school, all the kids back to school, and then I sleep, So each year was a learning experience.
Like you, I've done the same thing because I raised my 4 kids also. I mean, they were a little older, but not as older that you want. But I mean, you had to do what you had to do. I would run crazy, and then I would have to beg, borrow, and ask my my bosses to let me work that particular shift on a particular day. And I too went to school and did my master's and everything else. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But the thing is, sometimes you take a path in life that you think is the right path, but then it's not, right? Or it changes, it forks out, and then now you take a different path and you have to reinvent yourself again. And reinvent yourself again. And so that's what I love about what you're doing is, it's okay. It's okay to reinvent yourself, but also while you're doing that, be accountable for what you're doing. Don't forget yourself, right?
And it's to have an accountability partner. If you're not in a program, find someone that you can rely on. And I always use it as a co-partnership where you're both able to talk. But then there's times I found people that it was easier for me to listen to them, and I had more resources for them than they had for me. So I found a different accountability for that situation. But I was still an accountability partner with the other person because I'm being relied on, but I needed to find someone else that I can rely on. Does that make sense?
Yes. So what we've learned here is, be accountable for yourself and find a partner. Exactly. And it's okay to reinvent yourself. And then Dr. G is looking for people with stories. So when we finish this video, Dr. G, go ahead and give us an excerpt of what you're looking for. Give us your website, as in the comment section so that people know, because there's people out there who are going to listen to this and who are going to say, oh my God, I want to be in her story. I mean, I'm gonna do the same. I want to be in one of your stories. Although I have a whole booklet, I have a few books to write, but let's start with the first chapter. One story.
Now, if anyone is out there right away, it's Dr. G Magee at yahoo.com, but use the Dropbox and give me your information. I'm setting up files under Dropbox. And then this way I'm able to have access to that. Or it's Dr. G Magee at Gmail. I can't remember who's in charge of Dropbox. I'll get back to you on all the information. This weekend I'm learning a lot of the newer technology. I'm also going to think about doing a YouTube called Dr. G on Facebook under Dr. G, but do a YouTube of Dr. G and then do another one of Mama G, because I was I raised a lot of kids besides my own, and they all call me Mama or Mama G. And so no hair done, no makeup, going through the house each day. How do I save money? What do I do to, go through the day? And Dr. G is the one that is the professional side. So we have various hats that we wear in life. We're friends, we're a mother, we're a friend to our children. We're also the financial person to our children or in our family. So start realizing which you wear and talk to that person in that hat so that you can reason as a solution of how to work with the other things in your life. And that's just systemic therapy within the self. Does that make sense?
Yes, most definitely. And, these are tips and tricks that everybody can learn from, and I've known Dr. Magee for almost a year. We started talking in March, and we're going to do a joint venture soon.
Yay.
As soon as we are situated. because we all have hiccups in life. Of course, that happens. So again, reinvent yourself. But the thing is, don't lose that dream. Don't lose that, And thank you so much, Dr. Magee, for doing this show with me, because I know this was short notice. Let's do this. We finally got a date together. And I think it works with you and me, because this, on the spur of the moment.
Yeah. And I did it because that's my grandson's new favorite word. He's 18 months. He goes, I did it.
There you go. I did it. There you go.
I did it. So I'll send him a video.
But that's awesome. And so for those of you who are watching, go ahead and share, like, subscribe to this channel, because you know what? We're going to put it on YouTube. We're going to share a lot of things. But if you want to be a part of the story, be accountable, just be there for yourself and reinvent yourself. Go ahead and do it. It's never too late. Doesn't matter. Age is just a number, right? Do you agree? It's just a number. It's how you feel in your heart. So go ahead, people. Thank you so much again, Dr. Magee. I'm honored and humbled to have you on Munira's Musings.
Thank you. I had such a great time. I'm so glad we're able to connect. And everyone out there, don't lose hope. One of my best solutions that a therapist gave to me many, many years ago, he said, write down 3 good things each day at the end of the day. And it took me a few weeks, to be honest. And my first thing I wrote was a ladybug. I saw a ladybug. From that point on is where I started shifting my life, looking at what the things in life I do want for myself or I need to survive. And, there are so many different tools out there. Start building a toolbox of resources for yourself and others. And that, start building a community around you, because it does take a community, even though we're all technology today, it does take a community to survive and kids and be part of life, right?
There you go. Thank you so much. Again, last minute nuggets. There you go.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group called Navigate to Your Niche.